The National Civil Society Council of Nigeria has called on the federal government to intervene over alleged bribery scandal against Mr Sule Abdulaziz, Managing Director and CEO of Transmission Company of Nigeria. The Executive Director of the Council, Mr Blessing Akinlosotu, disclosed at the news conference on the state of electricity in Nigeria held in Abuja. The Executive Director described the state of electricity across the country as a matter of national emergency, with the collapse of national grid and the inability to fully transmit and distribute the minimal capacity generated. According to him, amidst the poor electricity situation, over 20 petitions have been brought before the council against Abdulaziz and the leadership of the distribution companies, DISCOs.
The state of electricity across the country has become a matter of national emergency, with repeated collapse of national grid and inability to even fully transmit and distribute the very minimal capacity being generated. Yet, in the midst of this frustrating and devastating situation, we hear of a very unbelievable scandal against the Managing Director and CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, in person of Engineer Sule Abdulaziz. Over 20 petitions have been brought before the Civil Society Council against the Managing Director of the TCN and a few others directed at the leadership of the distribution company, DISCO. However, the most alarming is the recent reports across media outlets concerning bribery allegation against the Managing Director of TCN, Engineer Sule Abdulaziz, that he purchased an SUV car to induce the Honorable Minister of Power to influence his retention. The MD has reportedly bought a 2023 Lexus SUV LS600 model procured at the cost of 298,444,187 naira 50 kobo for the Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu. Reliable source has it that the MD of TCN bought the vehicle from the internally generated revenue.
He attributed Abdulaziz's act to have contributed to the inability of Transmission Company of Nigeria to raise and pay paltry sum of 1 billion naira for delivery of 226 containers of power equipment and transformers trapped at various seaports. He underscored the need for President Bola Tinubu to officially suspend Abdulaziz to create room for thorough investigation of the matter. He further issued a 7-day ultimatum starting from March 30, 2024 for government to take actions on the council's demands, saying failure to which would result to mobilization of mass protest nationwide.
The most painful aspect of this ugly development to the civil society community is that while the nation is languishing in darkness and epilepsy power supply, about 226 containers of power equipment and transformer owned by the TCN are at various ports in Nigeria. Aside the corruption component in this offensive action, the gross insensitive and irresponsibility therein is clearly showcased in the fact that this same MD of TCN has been unable to raise and pay a paltry sum of 1 billion naira to take delivery of about 226 long-standing containers of power equipment and transformer that are trapped in various ports. It is in the light of the foregoing that the National Civil Society Council of Nigeria strongly demand the immediate suspension of Engineer Sule Abdulaziz, the Managing Director of TCN by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, and investigation into this allegation by the EFCC. Also, that the Honorable Minister of Power urgently address the Nigerian public on these very important matters. The Council hereby issue a 7-day ultimatum starting from today of this press conference to relevant authorities, calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Minister of Power, the Director General of State Security Service, Inspector General of Police, and the general public to take actions on the above demand, failure to which we shall be left with no other options than to mobilize a mass protest nationwide to drive home our demand. Nigeria can no longer tolerate the excessives of the MD of TCN, and we demand remedies now or never.